Do you have to give a business presentation in English? And do you not know what to include in your introduction part? Then keep watching because this is the video that's gonna help you. Hi guys, this is Kelly and welcome to my channel. We are continuing our series for segments that you can include in your introduction. Self-introduction was covered in last video and we'll be covering the rest in today's video. Alright, now the next segment that I like to include in my introduction is to thank the participants for coming to your presentation. I think it's really great if you could just briefly thank them for coming to your presentation. If it's an offline presentation and every single participant is sitting in the room, then you can just say, thank you all for coming. It's very simple. You can just say, thank you all for coming. Or your presentation might take place on an online platform. I worked at a multinational company for my previous job, and I had to give a lot of presentations online, and participants were sitting in other countries, so they were not just in Korea. So in that case, what happens is sometimes there are people who are joining your call outside of their normal working hours. And in that case, I think it's really nice if you could just show them a little gratitude. So what I used to do was I said, thank you all for joining the call. I know that some of you are joining outside of your normal working hours. So thank you so much for your flexibility. Thank you all for joining the call. I know that some of you are joining outside of your normal working hours. So thank you so much for your flexibility. So this is also a great sentence to include because it shows your politeness and it shows that you're being grateful for people who are joining outside of their normal working hours. Now, the third segment is topic for today's presentation. Obviously, this is a part that you cannot choose to omit because you would have to introduce the topic for your presentation. So you can say, the topic for today's presentation is hiring process overview. The topic for today's presentation is the sales strategies for year 2019. The topic for today's presentation is sales forecast for Q4. So you can just say the topic for today's presentation is, and then just include the topic. All right, now moving on to the fourth segment. I like to include how I would be handling questions. I like to include this part in my introduction because if I do this, then it doesn't confuse the audience. So they're not confused whether they can just ask questions during the presentation or if they should just wait till the end of the presentation. So I think it's just better to mention it up front so that your audience is not confused. If you are okay with taking questions throughout your presentation, you can say, please feel free to ask any questions during my presentation. Please feel free to ask any questions during my presentation. Or you can change the word during to throughout. So you can say, please feel free to ask any questions throughout my presentation. But let's say you do not want to be interrupted during the presentation and you want them to ask you questions at the end. I personally like to do that because I could easily forget what I'm about to say if I'm interrupted by a question. So what I used to say was, if I may kindly ask, please save all your questions till the end, and I will have a Q&A session at the end of my presentation. Again, if I may kindly ask, please save all your questions till the end, and I will have a Q&A session at the end of my presentation. So I'm just being polite by saying if I may kindly ask, and then I'm telling them that I will have a Q&A session at the end so they can just save up their questions. Alright, now the fifth segment is the list of contents. The list of contents. Most of the times in a presentation, there is a list of contents in the beginning because it could give the audience a sense of what they can expect from your presentation. It shows them how the structure of the presentation is organized. So I like to include the list of contents in my introduction. I would simply say, here is the list of contents. Here is the list of contents. Or if you want to add a few words, you can say, here is the list of contents that I'm going to cover today. Or you can also say, here is the list of contents for today's presentation. Here is the list of contents for today's presentation. Alright, so this concludes the introduction part for your business presentation. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you are interested in watching business English related contents, how to write awesome resumes and cover letters, and some tips and tricks for your interviews, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to cover the body, the conclusion, and also how you can handle questions, so how you can do better with the Q&A session. Okay, so this is the end of my video today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!